So these are requirements. So one thing is that they have not revealed too many details. So that's why I will not be able to provide a lot of insights. Just with whatever information they have provided, that's all I will be able to discuss. So first of all, why I have chosen it. So Habana Labs, this Goya processor really gives good performance compared to V100 GPU. It has not only smaller latency, but also much higher throughput. That means how many images can it process in a single second? That is 15,000. And each image is processed with a latency of 1.3 milliseconds. So that means this latency is also quite good. So all these factors need to be kept in mind. Now, of course, there are other accelerators which are better than Habana Labs accelerator. So I will discuss them also. So just because it is better than GPU doesn't mean it is the best. But if you can beat a GPU, that means it's a good sign, right? Our benchmark or our baseline is no longer CPU. Our baseline is GPU. So CPU is anyway very general purpose. GPU is mostly for graphics. GPU is like a still somewhat general purpose. It's still somewhat for graphics processing. GPU are not entirely designed for deep learning. Whereas this accelerator, such as the Goya, Gaudi, and a few others which I will discuss, they are designed exclusively for deep learning, and they are ASIC. They are not even GPU. They are ASIC. So obviously they have to perform better than GPU for them to come in the market. Because if they're not better than GPU, why will I waste money in purchasing an ASIC? I can just use a GPU, right? Which is quite general purpose. So this is the architecture. Okay, so here we have TPC and we have GAN engine. So these are the two main accelerators. Of course, we also have this DMA. So if you remember, now every time I discuss something, I will compare with what we have already learned. So if you remember in Hexagon's DSP, right? We had two types of compute engines. What were they? Srinivas, Sagar. Okay, so we had scalar threads and we had vector threads, right? Vector threads were called HVX. That means in DSP we want to accelerate both control code and the parallel signal processing code, right? We did not have a single code for accelerating both of them. We had two types of cores. One is like scalar threads and another was vector threads. So similarly here also you can see we have GAN engine, right? And we have TPC. Here we don't have just one of them. We have multiple of them. So here, please remember, this is my summary of. So Goya has TPC and GAN engine for accelerating different types of workloads. Similarly, if you see even in CPU, nowadays CPU itself is a general purpose. Plus, now in IBM's Power 10 CPU has a matrix coprocessor. Why? Because as we are seeing that deep learning workloads are gaining prominence, many data centers are still using CPU for running deep learning workloads. So most of the common workloads can run on the CPU, and your deep learning workloads can be accelerated using the matrix coprocessor. There we call it a coprocessor. That means you will have a main chip, and along with that you will also have a coprocessor, maybe on the same chip. That coprocessor is optimized for just one type of task. That is a matrix task. So IBM already has it. Similarly, Intel's Sapphire Rapid also has that kind of unit. So that's whole idea is matrix multiply unit. So it does matrix multiplication. Again, because deep learning workloads are mostly matrix multiplication computations, so that's why it is a dedicated matrix multiplier. Okay. Now, why it is tile matrix multiplier? Remembers that point? Why tile matrix multiplier unit? Anubha, do you remember? Maybe. Yeah. Any reason you can think of why tile? Where we have heard of this word tile before? Yes, please. No, nobody remembers. So if you remember GPU's tensor core, what was the key idea there? What was the key idea there in GPU's tensor core? We forgot. Tensor core is a very important topic. Naveen, Hemkant, Priyansh. What does Tensor Core do? Okay, tell me what GPU's Tensor Core do. Oh, okay. So everybody forgot. So we have to see, first of all, we have discussed cache blocking or cache tiling, which means that instead of doing matrix multiplication of the large matrices, we can do multiplication of smaller matrices. Then, based on this idea, we discussed GPU's Tensor Core, which multiplies two 4x4 matrices. Right? GPU's Tensor Core multiplies two 4x4 matrices, and those matrices can be further in quantized form. That means they could be in FP16 or int 8 or int 4. So that gives you additional advantage. And if you see Google's TPU, that is a systolic array. That also does matrix multiplication, but without tiling. I mean, there at least it uses much larger matrix size, right? TPU version 1 uses 256 cross 256, and version 2, 3, and 4 they use 128 cross 128 size matrix multiplication. So here also it's not a large matrix. It's just the word tile indicates that they work on tiled matrices. That means it's again tiling. Instead of directly multiplying very large matrices, they work on tiled matrix multiplication. That's all. Similarly, GPU's Volta core has, Volta processor has CUDA cores and Tensor cores. Okay, so CUDA cores are like mostly doing vector computations. They are not directly operating on matrices. They are probably having a one-dimensional matrix, a one-dimensional vector multiplied with another one-dimensional vector. Whereas Tensor Core is directly operating on matrices or tensors. Right? It is operating on two-dimensional matrices directly. Similarly, Xeon Phi, if I get time, I will discuss it. But the reason I have not given it priority is that Xeon Phi has been cancelled. That's why I will discuss it if time permits. But there also, we have the scalar unit and vector unit, similar to the Hexagon's DSP. Right? Hexagon DSP had a scalar unit and vector unit. Similarly, Xeon Phi has scalar unit and vector units. It doesn't have matrix units. Xeon Phi was not for deep learning, or at least not so much optimized for deep learning, so it doesn't have matrix units. Groq's DSP has vector units and matrix units. This is a very good processor with very high performance. So I'll really like to discuss it. Okay. So Goya has TPCs, tensor processing cores, which I just now showed you here. TPC are tensor processing core, which are fully programmable, as they say. And it has GAN engine. Now TPC is a VLAW SIMD vector processor. Now here overall they have tensor addressing in this. So see, tensor processing cores mostly do the tensor computations. So now if you remember, I told you what is tensor. So tensor is like a multi-dimensional matrix. For all our purposes, you can think of tensor as a 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional matrix. Actually, tensor is much more than that, but for our simple understanding, tensor is a matrix. So if you is a 3 or 4-dimensional matrix. So now most of the data values, they will be 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional. For example, if you see an image, it has 3 channels: red, green, and blue. It has 3 channels, and for each channel we have a 2-dimensional image. Okay, so it can directly do tensor manipulations. Tensor processing core can directly do tensor operations. Of course, it has GAN for doing matrix multiplication, simple matrix multiplication. Then it has special functions, dedicated hardware. That means special engine for doing some special computations. It also has latency hiding capabilities by using of this shared memory. So like the shared memory, and it also has local memory. So local memory. Now tell me, this local memory, should it be hardware managed or software managed?
Software managed.
Very good, very good. Yeah, it should be software managed because it's an accelerator. It's not a general purpose processor. Right? In accelerator, we already know what are the applications that we're going to run. That is the type of, because see this, after Goya, we know it is an inference processor for deep learning workloads. It is not for general purpose workloads. It is only for deep learning workloads. And now we know what are the typical deep learning workloads are there. So that means whoever is the compiler designer, they can predict, okay, these are the workloads. So they can write their code so that for this application, I want this data to be put here. For example, for CNNs, weights are heavily used. So I can write the code so that my weights always reside in the local memory. For some other application, maybe weights are not so frequent. The data, the reuse of weight is not so high. There, I will not put weights in the local memory. I will put something else. Okay. So one thing you please remember, in most of the, I mean, I think almost all of the, maybe there is one accelerator which also has something in hardware managed, but most of the accelerator, they will have software managed or explicitly managed memory. They will not have hardware managed. Hardware managed memories are only for the general purpose processors like CPU. And because GPU also has some features of general purpose computing, that's why GPU also has a small hard cache like L1, L2. But GPU mostly also has shared memory, which is an example of software managed memory. Okay. GPU has a shared memory, which is a software managed memory. So this local memory is software managed. Now this it supports a wide range of data types: FP32, int32, int16, int8, int32, int16, int8. That means hardware itself supports them. See what we actually in recent experiments that we did. We first did the experiments with FP32. So suppose we got an FPS of suppose 10. Then we went to FP16. We got very high FPS, maybe like 30 or 40, something like that. Then we went to int8. And our FPS went to just 1. Why? Because hardware does not support it. Although in the software level, I can try to write it, but at the hardware level, int8 computations are still done with FP16. So that's why you don't get much performance advantage. So your hardware has to support that computation. Then only you will get the advantage in speed. So here at the hardware level itself, it supports all these data types. So that's why now another thing which you will find is that all these companies who are designing their own accelerators, they themselves have to design their compiler. Right? Why? Because first of all, it is a custom accelerator. They don't want to tell others what is their architecture. It is highly secret. Plus, because it is not for general purpose, so only few types of workloads will run. So they know, okay, only these types of workloads we will run on this. So they can easily design a compiler. Okay. So usually you will see that accelerator this design companies, they also design their own compiler. So now, based out of these formats, the compiler, Synapse AI compiler, can select suitable data type by balancing throughput and performance with accuracy. If I need very high accuracy, I should use this. Although that will give me poor throughput, poor performance. But if I want very high throughput, very high performance, I can use uint8. So although accuracy will be lost, but my performance will be improved. Okay. So here, remember this point. Local memory is a software managed memory. It's not a hardware managed cache. And I have already discussed TPU. I have discussed GPU. I will very soon discuss IPU, Intelligence Processing Unit. They all have software managed memory. Okay. And then it also has. But one more thing, I'll come to this point now. Just let me first discuss this. The GAN region operates on 16-bit integers. Now, TPC supports mixed precision operations, including 8-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit simply vector operations for both integer and float. So, TPC has VLIW plus SIMD. I exactly don't know how both of them can work together. I will have to find out. This I have not read till now. How it is both VLIW and SIMD. I will try to search and find. But so definitely has VLIW feature, and it also has simply vector capabilities. Now, on-die caches can be either hardware managed or fully software managed, allowing the compiler to optimize the residence of data and reducing memory. So, I think it is talking about this shared memory, as far as I understand. Most probably, it is the shared memory which would be done. I try to reason and see. Yeah. Okay. So, see, what is the idea? See, sometimes it is good to have hardware management. Sometimes it is good to have software management. Usually in this accelerator, it's better to have software managed memory. But still, in general purpose compute, it is good to have hardware management. So that's why GPUs allow you that you can divide there is a space which you can divide between L1 cache or shared memory. At least like Fermi GPU had that capability. I think recent GPUs also have that capability. For example, they have a 48 KB size. Now, if you want, you can use it as 16 KB of L1 and 32 KB of shared memory, or 32, or 24, or you can have 32 and 16 KB. Because some applications will benefit more from shared memory, some applications will benefit more from L1 cache. That's why you can switch between hardware managed and software managed. So similar is the idea which is mentioned here. So compiler can decide how much to partition so that it is useful. But I think this must be referring to shared memory, not to the local memory, because I'm sure local memory is software managed. Now each TPU has its own local memory. It can also access the shared memory in addition to the local memory. Now DMA engine acts as the intermediary between the shared memory and the both external memory and the IO. So DMA means direct memory access. See, where is a DMA used? A DMA is used when you want to directly copy the data from, suppose, IO or outside world to the to the cache without involving the CPU or without involving the compute engine. Okay, so DMA engine is used. As the name suggests, direct memory access. You can access the memory directly without going through the processor core or CPU. Here, you can DMA engine enables you that you can directly, copy the data here to the shared memory, right? Through this without going through this TPCs or GCAN engine. So GAN, TPC, and DMA engines can operate concurrently with the shared memory, offering a latency hiding mechanism. So shared memory helps you to hide the latency because otherwise, without shared memory, you will have to always go to the DRAM. But with shared memory, you can access it because shared memory is on chip. So as I said, actually, they have not revealed all the details. So there are some questions which I'm not able to answer because it's just that they have not revealed all the details. But and I also tried to search other publications outside Habana Labs application, but I could not answer. I got some answers. So for predictability and low latency, Goya has software managed memory, and it is on chip, right? So that's why it's low latency, and because it is software managed, it is much more predictable. So can you explain me why is it that software managed is more predictable, hardware managed is not predictable? Prashant, Sai Vikas, Suman, Vikas. I explained it, I think, before. Why is it that software managed memories are predictable? I think when I discussed VLIW architecture, I explained when it is software managed, it is predictable, hardware managed is not predictable. Anyone, please? Okay, see, when it is hardware managed cache, right? Sometimes it can be a hit, sometimes it can be a miss. Hardware itself decides which data to keep in the cache, which data to remove from the cache. It will automatically keep on removing some data, bringing some data, removing some data. So sometimes it will be a hit, sometimes it will be a miss. Right? As a programmer, I don't know when it will be a hit, when it will be a miss. That all depends on the hardware. Hardware is itself making all the decision about which data to keep, which data to edit. But when it is software managed memory, then as a programmer, I'm writing the code that this data should be kept in the software managed memory at this point of time. And after that, some other data need to be kept. That means this data, previous data have to be deleted. Okay, so that's why it is predictable. I know which data is there in the software managed memory, so I know whether it will be a hit or miss. Without executing the program, just by the static analysis, that means just by executing the compiler, I can find out which data will hit, which data will miss. Because I myself keeping the data there. So that's why software managed memories are much more predictable, are fully predictable. Okay. Now, can any student explain it in their own words? Let us see. Suman, Anupam, Bhanu. Can you? express whatever I just now explained in your own term. Just to see whether you understood it. Gaurav, Anjan?
Sir,
Sir, we are storing it in.
Yeah, Bhanu, let us. Yes, Bhanu.
We are giving that way to store, way to use it. So we are writing the code. So we better to know how it is working.
Okay,
software.
let us. Okay, Anupam.
Sir, also, since in hardware we haven't programmed it, so we are not sure whether which all data will it be keeping in the cache. So that's why
At any particular point of time, yeah, at any
point of time. So that's why
Yeah.
the behavior at that point of time is unpredictable, sir. However, in software we generally know that what all the policies will be giving it, sir. So what all cache we can expect to be a hit and what all to be a miss. So
Yeah,
more or
because
less
we are ourselves bringing the data into the. That means we are writing a code.
Yes, sir.
That bring this data into shared memory. Do not bring this data into shared memory. That's
It will be
why.
more user friendly. With software, it will be more user friendly, sir. With the
No, it's not so much about user friendly. It is just that as a programmer, I know which is data is there, which data is not there. It's not just about user friendly. It is about as a programmer, we write the code that brings this data into the
Sure.
Shared memory of the software management. That's why it is hit. That's why it will always hit. Or if you know the data is not there, it will always miss. Right?
Yes.
So that's why if it is hit, see, as we know, hit means very small latency, miss means very large latency. So this leads to unpredictability with hardware managed cache. But if we always know that okay, this data will always hit, then it is predictable because it is always hitting. That's the idea of predictability. So if you're still not clear, please let me know. I can explain again.
Okay, sir. Please.
Okay, anyone else? Is it clear or is it not clear? Why? First of all, the difference between software managed and hardware managed cache, and secondly, how come software managed memories they lead to predictable execution time? Because see, in many applications, we will have to use predictability is a very important constraint. We can't rely on unpredictable execution time, even though that could be faster. We want predictable execution time. Just like if you remember in Facebook's presentation, we said that we need predictability because wherever it is user-facing application, they want predictable execution time. Okay, so I hope everyone has understood. If it is still not clear, you can please ask me. Okay. And Goya also has DMAs. So with DMAs, you can do direct memory access. You don't have to involve the processor code. That's why it becomes low latency. All memories are ECC protected. That means they all have error correcting code. So what is error correcting code? So actually in this course, I'm not discussing about reliability, but reliability is an important consideration. I think I do have presentations on reliability, both on reliability of conventional processors and reliability of deep learning engines or deep learning accelerators. But I think there are other important topics. So reliability means like there could be sometimes fault, either because the system becomes overheated or some electric short happens, or more importantly, sometimes there are particle strike which come from the sky. So that particle strike can flip a bit from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. So all those errors can happen, right? So what you do error corrections. That means you check just like, have you heard of MD5 sum, checksum or parity? Has anybody heard of MD5?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you must have. So all these are examples of like checksums. So for example, like suppose you're downloading some file from internet. So at their end, they have already computed the checksum. Now, after I download, I will again compute my checksum. If my checksum matches with the checksum at the sender's end, that means I have downloaded the file correctly. If the checksum differs, that means some error has happened. Although I tried to download, but some bit could not be downloaded properly. Okay, so this is an idea of error correction. So we have to. So here, I mean, in real life, we do need error correcting code. That's why they are saying that all the memories are ECC protected. So although use of ECC has some performance impact. Okay, just like for example, sometimes like for security, the guard will stop you for the security or maybe for corona check, the temperature check, thermal screening. It slows down your speed, but it is good for security or it's good for safety. Sometimes you have to run antivirus software. It will slow down your computer, but it is good for safety. So whenever you are looking for reliability or security, your performance will take some hit. Some performance loss will be there, but the security that you get is much more important. Okay, so that's the idea. So in this way, in real life, we do need ECC protection. Now, Goya card comes in a single slot or dual slot form factors. I will skip what is single slot, dual slot, because this is more like incident detail. When you actually come on campus, then you work with these GPUs, then you will understand. Now it has two DDR4 channels. Okay, so my favorite questions. What do you think about DDR4? Is it good or is it bad? Or what is the plus minus? Okay, Anubhav, Krishna Chaitanya. DDR4, is it good or bad? Yes, Krishna Chaitanya.
Sir, what I've learned, it is not good, sir.
Why?
It is bad, sir.
Why?
The reason I'm just thinking, sir, but what I've learned is the DDR4 channels are not good, sir.
Okay, not good. Okay, but why? Okay, let us ask Anubhav.
So it is not good.
Okay, why? Why? Ashish, why it's not good? Gaurav, yes, Gaurav, please.
Sir, it has some compatibility issues with RAM, sir.
No. That's not. I mean, I was saying in terms of performance and all, those issues you can always overcome. Okay, Sagar, Prashant, Subham.
Sir, is it speeds?
Speed.
Means HBM is highest.
What highest? In what metric highest? HBM is highest. You are very close.
Speed.
No, speed is not the correct word. I think EC people should know it better. Srinivas, what is highest for HBM?
The bandwidth.
Yeah, bandwidth. See, bandwidth here is so small, 40 gigabyte per second only. Okay, so that speed is mostly in terms of latency. That means if I send a request, in how much time will this request be returned? That means in how much time will I get the data? Whereas bandwidth is how many parallel requests can I send? So here you see the bandwidth is very poor, only 40. Now again, I can go back and ask all the bandwidth that we have seen. So for HBM, what is the bandwidth we have seen? For example, TP version 2, version 3. Or any bandwidth that you have seen previously. Do you remember any other value? For example, TP version 1. Yes, Anubhav. Sorry?
So TPU version 2 is 700 gigabytes.
Yeah, and TPU version 3 is around 900. 900 gigabyte per second. So compare that to this one. It is quite poor, right? So although it is just for inference, so that's why somewhat low bandwidth is okay, but not so low. Okay, it's not so low. So this is quite low. Now this GT, I think, is giga transactions per second. So we have not discussed that part. So I will skip that part. Now, power required is not expected to exceed 100 to 140 watts. But the TDP is 200 watts. That means the rated power is 200 watt. That means the maximum it can draw is 200 watt. But actually they are saying that most of the time it will not take more than 140 watts. So please remember this factor of maybe 140 watt for Goya. Okay, that its power consumption is almost, of course, we'll have to, theoretically we have to say 200 watts. And remember this 40 gigabyte per second, because I will very soon compare it with others. Okay. Now, what are the limitations here? It is slow. By slow, I mean, bandwidth is poor. But slow is not the very precise word. It should be bandwidth is poor. Now, SRAM capacity is small. So here, actually, they have made some guess that SRAM capacity is 32 This table I got from Google's paper. It is not from Habana Labs sources. It is from Google's papers. So that's why maybe there's some kind of guess. I could not get it from there. Now, Nirvana architecture, I am not discussing in this course because Nirvana has been cancelled. I discussed it in the beginning of today's class. Some of you had not joined by that time. So Nirvana processor has been cancelled. And instead, Intel has decided to focus on Goya and Gaudi. That's why I'm discussing. So all of these are inference processors. Okay, T4, Goya, Nirvana, Zebra, and Guang. They're all inference processors. That's why they are compared here. Okay. Now, Han Guang I will definitely discuss. Zebra, I don't know. I mean, I have not heard much about it, neither I will be discussing it. Now, T4 is a NVIDIA GPU, which is designed for inference. So, NVIDIA designs like one range of GPUs for inference, another range for training. Okay, so here, this V100 GPU, which I have shown you, that is for training. All right, this is V100 is for training, whereas T4 is a GPU which is for inference. Okay, one more thing is this Goya does not support bfloat 16, it only supports FP16. Okay, I think it doesn't even support FP6. Sorry, it just supports FP32 and doesn't support FP16 or bfloat 16. So that is one limitation. Now let us see this one. So here, first of all, they have taken T4 as the baseline. Why? Why T4 is the baseline? Why not something else? I discussed it at the beginning of today's presentation. Why T4 is the baseline? Hemkan, what is T4? I just now spoke. What is T4?
Sir, is it a TPU version 4?
No, T4 is not. It's a good guess, but I just now spoke, I think 2-3 minutes before. What is T4? Okay, T4 is a NVIDIA GPU. Okay, T4 is a NVIDIA GPU which is designed for inference. And V100 is another NVIDIA GPU which is designed for training. But that means it is designed for data centers. It is for like high throughput. Okay, is it clear? T4 is a NVIDIA GPU. So as I said, nowadays there is no point of comparing against CPUs. So that's why your baseline becomes GPUs. So that's why they have taken T4 as the baseline. Okay. Now here, this is performance divided by TDP, and that is normalized to T4's value. So here, this should be very, very high, right? That means TDP should be as low as possible, performance should be as high as possible. That's why this performance by TDP matrix should be as high as possible. Fine. Now, here, this operates in just 70-watt power budget. Please remember this point, T4, it operates with just 70 watts. So that means you can just plug that card on the host without any other power supply. Because it is less than 75 watts, that what you call it, PCI slot itself can give you sufficient power to run that GPU. Okay, it has 40 cores. Here, Goya has 8 cores. So which core is it measuring? Which core is it measuring? 8 cores. Which core is it measuring? 8 cores. Where do you see 8 here?
TPC.
Yeah, there are 8 TPCs, right? So that's why there are 8 cores. So GAN engine is like separate. So see, it's not apple to apple comparison. So you have to give something. So here we are calling TPC as a single core. Now it runs at 2.1 gigahertz. Again, I don't know how do they found it. Maybe from some other leaks they have found it, because from the Habana Labs website I could not find that information. DDR4 is available. That information is available. T4 has GDDR6. So G refers to graphics. Because it is graphics, it has high bandwidth. unlike DDR4, which has very low bandwidth or low bandwidth. And LPDDR means it is low power. That means it is mostly designed to keep the power consumption small. Okay. Now Han Guang, if you see, it has, see, this is like a summary. If you see this one, this is like a summary of performance and board and the power consumption. So on this metric, Han Guang is the best. Right? Han Guang is the best. It has high TDP, but it also gives you very high performance. Okay, it gives you very high performance. That's why it has a very good performance by TDP factor. It uses only 4 cores and it runs at very small frequency. So now, anybody can explain what is the benefit of running at low frequency?
Low.
Yes, Priyansh. Yes, Priyansh. What is the benefit of running at low frequency? We have discussed it, right? DVX.
That would result in low power.
Sai Vikas is, what
Yes.
is Sai Vikas saying? Sorry.
Low power. Like we
Yeah,
had
low
discussed,
power
that
consumption,
dynamic
you're
and
right.
static.
Yeah. The whole point of running at low power, low frequency is that we want to keep the power consumption. So here, if you see, T4 runs at very low frequency because it is for inference. Whereas some of the other GPUs that we have seen, they run at 1.5 gigahertz. Here, on purpose, it runs at very low frequency because the whole goal here is to keep the power consumption low. Okay. Now here, what is the meaning of this? What does it indicate? It has none. So what does it? What is the meaning of that? What is the purpose or what is the kind of significance of that? Or what can you comment about Han Guang from the fact that it has a DRAM has none? And have you seen it?
Does not connect to DRAM.
Okay.
It has no DRAM, sir. I guess it is locally stored.
It has the on-chip memory.
Very good. Yeah, all of you have almost explained it. So, if you remember, we had Cerebras wafer scale engine. So that also does not have any DRAM. The whole goal is use a large SRAM so that you can keep all the important your data items such as weight or activation the on chip itself. Although SRAM capacity can never be as large as DRAM capacity, but the benefit is that all the data is accessed very, very fast. Right? That is the advantage of. So Han Guang focuses on not using any DRAM, but only using SRAM so that the whole of the data can be kept in the on chip. So now you see, let us see. So here we have 32 megabyte of SRAM plus we have suppose 16 gigabyte of DRAM. Suppose we are using the maximum DRAM. So total capacity we have 16 gigabyte plus 32 megabytes. So that means here Goya can store models which are as large as 16 point something gigabyte. But Han Guang can store only 192 megabyte models only. If the model is larger than that, you have to use multiple chips of Han Guang. Is it clear, right? You understand? Although not using DRAM has the benefit that you are able to store everything in the SRAM, which is very, very fast and so on, in much higher bandwidth. But the limitation is that SRAM capacity can never be as large as DRAM capacity. And what if you need more than 192 megabyte, then you have to use multiple Han Guang chips and split your model across those chips. This is the limitation. Is it clear? I hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So please remember, this is the plus point and minus point. Plus point is that access is very, very fast, but minus point is that capacity becomes limited, so you can't run very large models. Okay, so any questions till this point? Okay, so this is something about the software framework. I will not go much into that. So they have their own Synapse AI compiler, which takes the code written in TensorFlow, PyTorch, and so on, and compiles it so that it can run on their hardware. So it provides a compiler and a runtime. It imports the train model, compiles it to be run on the Goa platform. It does automatic quantization without losing the accuracy. So it can use models trained on GPUs, CPUs, or even TPUs, and then that means you train your model anywhere, but you can run them on the Goa, because all these frameworks are supported. Right? All these frameworks are supported, so that wherever your model is trained, you can run it on the Goa processor. So, and they also provide a lot of tools such as profiling tools, libraries, and so on, debugger. So now I will show the experimental results, but remember one point, that currently Goa is implemented in 16 nanometer. If they were to go to 7 nanometer, their results will further improve. Okay, so here are the inference results. This is the throughput. This is the ResNet. That means how many images of ResNet can be processed. Okay, so at that beginning, I had shown you, I think this one, 15,000 one, right here. This one. This is 15,000 of ResNet 50 inference throughput, right? So here, so 15,000. I think this one, ResNet 50, maybe somewhere either this one or it should be, I guess, 15,000. That means must be some of this, but maybe a different framework they must have used. So yeah, here this is more insightful. So here this is comparing Goa with T4, and T4 is an NVIDIA GPU. So at the batch size of 12, they have this much throughput and this much latency. At batch size of 24, they have the throughput improves, latency is slightly increased. I mean, not slightly, maybe more than 50 or 60%. But for GPU, throughput is not improved, but latency just doubles. Okay. Latency does not improve, but throughput just throughput does not improve, latency just becomes double. See, we want throughput should be as high as possible, latency should be as low as possible. So here, one thing they have shown is that Goa is much better in terms of throughput and also in terms of latency. And here is some more result. Throughput comparing with, this is a GPU. This is what? Tell me. What is this?
FPGA, sir?
Yeah, it's FPGA only, right? So this is FPGA. Now this is a CPU. Okay, this is Xilinx LVO FPGA. So here they have shown that compared to them, they have much higher throughput, and compared to V100, they have lower latency. And in terms of that means if they spend 1 watt of power, then how many images per second can they process? So this should be as high as possible. So here, this number is 150 for Goa and only 18 for V100. Why? Because V100 takes a lot of power. And for CPU, this number is just 6, which is very poor.